Welcome to Spark Plugs, a brand new speaker series in partnership between Lakeshore Arts and Humber College. Join us every Monday from noon to 1 p.m., February through till April. Bring your lunch and join others from the community and learn something new.
The speaker series isn't about what you do, it's about who you are and what fuels you. Spark Plugs is designed to engage conversation with your neighbors through shared knowledge, experiences, and passion.
So come out and plug what sparks you.
Hello, everyone. Can everybody hear me okay? I'm going to jump back and forth a little bit. In a digital presentation, it's pretty funny that we can't get the screen working, but we'll see what we can do. So as Ashley said, my name is Nick Farnell. The presentation is going to be online in its entirety at nickfarnell.ca, so if you guys want to take a look at it later, feel free. So a little bit about me. As Ashley said, I really love design and technology and education. I studied my industrial design degree at Humber here at the North Campus, and then postgrad in interactive multimedia, and then did my MBA at Ryerson with a focus on digital media. That is my dog Flash that Ashley mentioned. Anytime I say that, people are like, oh, that's funny, you named your dog after a superhero. And I have to correct them and say, no, I'm a lot more of a nerd than that. She's actually named after the Adobe Flash web design software. So these glasses are real. I am a big nerd, but I have fun doing it. So what I do, actually work just in that building right there at the Humber Students Federation. So it was a nice short walk today. At HSF, I'm the community manager. So HSF is the student government on campus, and as community manager, I do all of the social media, digital media, and sort of on-campus digital programming. I also do a little bit of teaching at the University of Guelph Humber at the North Campus. I teach courses like web design, media practices, which is a fourth-year interdisciplinary course, which I will get into a little bit later on. Just a really different format course, and I help with the digital communications internship for fourth-year students as well. So before that, some of the things I've done on campus and digitally, I guess, are I started off as the new media communications specialist at Humber for student recruitment. This is a pretty cool role at the time. So this was interacting with people who wanted to come to the college and doing that entirely online. So communicating with them through social media, answering questions, and it was a really new way of interacting with prospective students at the time, and it was a really enjoyable role. My favorite time of year was always about this time of year, early February, when acceptance packages started to go out, because everybody online was just so happy that they could come to Humber and had all these great questions, and it was a lot of fun. I also worked as the coordinator of student life for a little while within student success and engagement at Humber, so doing the social programming and making sure that students had some enjoyable time while they were here on campus. And then previous to that, when I was a student, I was quite active in student life stuff, from residence life to athletics to student government. And I really wanted to make my experience a lot of fun when I was here. So social media, everybody knows what social media is, but sort of a little recap for me is it has to be a web-based dialogue. So it's not just consuming content, it's a back and forth. I think to the web of 15 years ago, it was more of a static content online, read that content, consume it, and you're done with it. Social media is a lot more back and forth. So not only are you reading the content, but you're contributing content as well. The idea of user-generated content, so anybody can contribute this content and share this content digitally, so you can share it with people you know, people you don't know, and the idea of a sense of community, so people are there for similar reasons, want to interact with each other, and share viewpoints. Jump over to what student engagement is. This is a pretty well accepted definition of student engagement. The thing I like most about it is that students take pride not simply earning the formal indicators of success, so not just grades, but understanding the material, incorporating it, or internalizing it in their lives. So this is from Newman. He wrote a book in the early 90s about student engagement and how important it is to be connected to your campus. So to me, student engagement is a little bit more than that, especially at the post-secondary level, and especially with some of the changes online. With the web, information is everywhere, and if you want to learn something, it's really, really easy to do it. You don't necessarily need to come to an institution like this to do it anymore. If you have some spare time and an internet connection, you can learn pretty much whatever you want at your own speed for almost free. Lynda.com is a site that I love. It's a membership-based site. There are thousands and thousands of tutorials, anywhere from a few hours to 10 or 12 hours long, that you can learn just about anything. If you want to learn how to be a web programmer, you can do it here. If you want to learn how to use Photoshop and be a master of Photoshop, you can do it on lynda.com at your own speed for not very much money at all. So that brings up the question then, what is the value of an institution like this? What's the value of a college or university if you can learn those technical skills easily from your own house? To me, the biggest part, or one of the biggest parts next to academics, is the social component of being on campus. Interacting with people that you wouldn't meet before, having those debates in class, challenging each other, propping each other up, and growing as a whole person. So I'm taking a little bit of sidebar here for a second. I'm going to introduce you to my wedding party. So I'm getting married in a few months. This is one of my groomsmen. His name is Dan. We met a long, long time ago in residence. He studied criminal justice, probably not somebody I would just run into on my day-to-day life, but because we were in residence together, we ended up working together later on, and we ended up becoming really close friends that we're still close today. Something like lynda.com, you can't do that. You can learn the technical things on lynda.com, but you can't make these friendships. Continuing with my wedding party, Chad Stewart and Alan Wisniewski, these are my best man. We also went to school together. We were in the same program. We really pushed each other hard when we were in the same program to do well academically. So thinking back, without even realizing it, we sort of made it cool to do well. If one person was slacking a little bit or forgetting to finish an assignment, that sort of network between the three of us, we really pushed each other and challenged each other to do well and to really enjoy the work that we were doing. I'm not making this up. Things like going to design museums, helping each other with projects, in between bar nights was something that we did and had a lot of fun making it happen, spending a lot of late nights doing work. This was sort of the environment that the three of us were in, and because we all did very, very well academically and had fun doing it. So one more about the wedding party. This is my wife-to-be, Jen. We met in residence 8 years ago. I think that's a pretty cool story about what student life on campus can do. Definitely can't get that sort of interaction from a website like lynda.com. So what does all this have to do with digital media and digital media from a social context on campus? To me, it's a really good example of the social aspect of college life. So it's not just about memorizing facts or learning new content. It's about making connections with people and make connections that are going to last for the rest of your life. To me, it's up to the institution like Humber to create this environment and to allow those social interactions to happen. So back to social media and student engagement, I just want to reinforce that this presentation isn't about getting rid of what I'll call traditional student life on campus. I think it's incredibly important, and it's not about pretending that you can use Facebook or Twitter to teach a course. So that's not what it's about. This presentation is sort of starting a conversation about things are changing, things have changed already, and we can use these social media tools to increase student engagement and student success on campus. A realization when I was putting this presentation together, for me, I didn't grow up with social media. Sort of something that happened when I was sort of ending my college career, I guess. But people coming into the school now, they grew up with this stuff. They've had Facebook since before they were in high school. They're used to using this every day as a social tool, and I think it's up to somewhere like Humber to make sure that we continue that conversation online. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go through some examples of how I've used social media on campus, both academically and just socially, to increase student engagement and student participation. I'm going to jump back and forth. Some are academic focused, some are pretty trivial and just fun little things. And they're pretty brief, so I'm going to leave a lot of time at the end to jump into any specific ones. If you'd like to see more of any of the the individual presentations. Like I said before, copy them, use them for your own, and see what you can do in your own areas. So I like to use this social media framework created by Jen Evans from Sequentia. I have the link on here as well. What she does, she breaks it down between goals, audience, content, promotion, policies, measurement, resources, and refinement. So it's not just about throwing some stuff online and hoping it works. It's about thinking through these individual content areas and making sure that you have a plan and you have somewhere to go. So with goals, what are you actually trying to do with this campaign or this project? Audience, who is your audience? Who isn't your audience? How technically literate are they? Thankfully on campus, most people are pretty comfortable with web and social media. Content, what are you trying to distribute and how does your audience expect to receive it? Promotion, how are they going to find it? How are they going to find out about this project or this campaign? Policies, especially online. Is there anything that can't happen? What are the rules of engagement? What happens if something goes wrong? Measurement, how do you know that it's successful? And what's the determinant of success? Resources, what do you actually need to make it happen when it comes to people, when it comes to equipment? And then refinement and iteration, sort of not making up as you go, but refining things as they move along. We do a lot of social programming that's not online at HSF. In the K building here, we do quite a few concerts and events and just social opportunities for students to meet each other and interact with each other. This specific campaign, we sort of dovetailed into one of the pub nights. It was really, really simple. All it was is a laptop with a webcam that automatically piped to our Facebook page. So we used a big screen just to showcase what was happening. We used a webcam and a piece of software that was $60, so it's not like it was really, really expensive. Didn't have to buy any new equipment. And all we did was we used this camera to take photo booth style photos. Think back to malls where you put the toonie in and they take 4 photos pretty quickly, and then it automatically went online. Fun little thing, but what this did is it really brought people to our Facebook page. It got people to have a little bit of fun in front of the camera, sort of showing off that they were at this event, and we're sort of borrowing some of their cool when they're posting this online and tagging themselves in it, and then announcing to all their friends, hey, I had a really good time at this HSF event, and it gives us some credibility. So the goal was to encourage students to spread the word about some of the events that we were doing and to get them onto our Facebook page so they could figure out what was happening next. What we try to do is we try to blend the fun and the education piece. Things like coming out to an event like this is easy for us to spread the message about. Things like last day to make a modification to your health and dental plan, not as cool sounding, so we try to blend those two back and forth. Next up, this was a virtual treasure hunt that we used. This was a little bit more involved than the photo campaign that we just showed. We created, with a free app called Ooh La La, we created this massive campus-wide video game that sort of bordered real and digital life. So using everybody's phone, students could download this app and they could find a magical hidden treasure. There was no physical piece of treasure. There was just using the GPS on your phone. The phone recognizes where you are. You could pick up this virtual treasure and then other people could steal it from you. So it was trivial, it was fun, but it really got students to interact, it got students to explore the campus, it got students to talk to each other, and that was the goal. We wanted to increase participation on campus and some digital interaction, and it really worked. When the contest, like when the deadline was about to end, I was just walking to my car out of the office, and I saw a dozen students sprinting down the front path in front of the HSF building. I said to one of them, like, what are you guys doing? And the last one in line said, we're getting the treasure, we're getting the treasure. So it was pretty neat to see this thing that it was all online, it was all digital, but students actually interacting with each other in real life. The audience was current students, the content was a campus map and this pretend treasure. The media we used was this free app called Ooh La La, and the promotion of it was through email campaigns, through posters, and just through word of mouth. So as one person started to download it and was running around the school trying to chase down this treasure, they would tell each other, this is what I'm doing, this is why it's fun. This one did have some pretty strict policies and some pretty strict rules. There were time limits of when people could interact with it and some technical things around you couldn't steal it more than once and go back and forth. When it came to measurement of it, we measured the participation, so how many people were playing, how far this piece traveled, how long people played for, and how many times the treasure was stolen. So in the end, we had hundreds and hundreds of people playing it between the two campuses, and it traveled kilometers. The borders of it were the borders of this campus, and we had another one running at the North Campus. So you can imagine that it had to move quite a bit to travel multiple kilometers. The resources of it, we had some prizes as incentives for people to actually play the game. They could win some electronics, some staff to monitor it, and the free app that I mentioned. Up next, this is a little bit less trivial, something a little bit more important, elections on campus. So we wanted students to not only be aware that they have the opportunity to vote, but be aware that they have the opportunity to run in the student elections. In the past, we had done physical town hall sort of spaces where you could come out, ask questions, and find out more about what it means to run for an elected position on campus. Some of the downfalls of that were if you weren't on campus on that day or you didn't know where the room was, you would miss that opportunity. And a lot of people, even though they were willing to run and put their name out there, they were a little bit shy when it came to asking questions about something that they didn't really know. There was just that awkwardness of being in a room with people that they didn't want to ask those questions. So what we decided to do is, for the few months previous to this, we collected questions online in various different ways. We asked students to give us their top questions about running for an elected position, and then turned it into an online information session. Students could still come into the office or talk to any of the staff, but we wanted to make the information session strictly online. We got a few questions previously just to sort of get the ball rolling, but then we publicized that at this day, from 8 in the morning till 4 o'clock in the afternoon, there's going to be a team of people online answering your questions right away. So we used Twitter, we used Facebook, and those were and our website itself to answer those questions. So our goals were to distribute information about elections as well as sort of gauging interest, like are there people that are actually going to run, and awareness about when it comes time to voting, they'll know what they're voting for and what this all means. So the audience were students who might want to run and students that might not even know that they want to run yet. Students who would be good for it, but just weren't exposed to it yet. The content was a question and answer piece, so as a student asked a question, we would answer right away. Things like, do I have to be a full-time student to run? Are these paid positions? Are they volunteered? And we used YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and the website to make it happen. For the promotion of it, we used email and we used just the questions themselves to sort of get the ball rolling. And the way we measured it was the amount of interaction. So are people actually asking questions? Are they answering questions? The really good part about this campaign was that not only the people asking questions saw the answers, but anybody who was following our page saw the answers. So these were, I'm going to jump back to students who might not know they want to run. They might not really be interested in asking a question, but once they see that question and answer come back, they saw it and said, oh wow, maybe this is something that I want to do. The way we measured that is the analytics inside Facebook, for example. You can see how many people are clicking on certain posts, and that was really great to see that we had maybe 30 or 40 questions, but we had hundreds and hundreds of people looking at each one of those questions. I'm going to jump to an academic one for a little bit. So I mentioned that I teach at the University of Guelph-Humber. I teach a few web courses, and a lesson that we did 2 weeks ago was on Photoshop. So learning Photoshop sort of for the first time. The goal in this was to use just a quick video to make sure that students are grasping the content. In class, there's a few people that didn't quite get the progression of it, and we're struggling a little bit. So I just used a free screen recording software and then published it on YouTube, and then sort of started the conversation that way. So this is after the class, just re-recorded the lesson and put it online and shared it through social media. So the goal of it was to make sure the students are grabbing the content, they're understanding what's happening. The audience was students in the class. The content was the course material, the lesson that we did that day, and promoted it through the course website, through Twitter, and through email. No real policies in this, but the way I measured it was the number of comments through Twitter, the number of comments on the YouTube video, emails that I received back, and just conversation in class the next week. I'm not going to play it now, but it's just a voiced-over screen recording of going through the steps of this assignment, and yeah, the software I used was free, so it was good. I got a lot of really positive comments on this video, just because it was sort of a trickier component that we were doing, so they appreciated that they could use this without taking up class time to finish the assignment. Another academic piece, I mentioned the interdisciplinary course that I'm teaching at Gulf Humber right now. It's a little bit of a different format, so we only see each other twice a month for 2 nights. So the first Tuesday and Wednesday of every month we meet in class, and then the rest of it, the students are sort of left to their own devices to make this massive project happen with other streams. So my group is the digital communication students, so web design. They work with PR, journalism, and image arts to make this conference and magazine happen by the end of the semester. It's a little bit daunting to think that you only get to interact with the students twice a month for this massive project to happen. So something that I did was I built into the course a weekly blogging component. So the goals of this was that, or the format I guess, was every student has to blog at least once a week, and they have to answer these 5 questions. What have you done this week? How did you do it? What has your team done this week? What struggles have you run into? And what will you achieve before next week? So not only does it help them stay on track, it helps me ensure that everything is okay, the project is moving along at the right speed, and lets me interject and jump in when there is an issue. The audience was the students in the digital communication section, as well as students outside of that group. So like the other people working on that larger project, to see, oh, maybe I can help them out in this spot. They're having trouble with whatever piece. I know how to help them with that. The media is just an open source blogging system, so Blogger or WordPress doesn't really matter. And the promotion of it, they do get marked for it. This is the last academic one that I'm going to jump into. This one's pretty fun too. So in a different course that I teach, and it's a second-year course, I built a component in a weekly Twitter component. So every week they have to tweet, they have to talk about the course. And for those of you who know a little bit about Twitter, they use the hashtag of the course code itself. So hashtag is just a way of organizing tweets and organizing thoughts. If you click on that hashtag, then you'll see tweets, all the tweets from different people about that course. So the goals were to keep this course in the students' minds all week, as well as, because it's a web-related course, to expose them to using Twitter for other reasons. Some cool things that came out of it were students sharing tutorials. They weren't asked to do this, but sharing other web tutorials, finding information about the lesson that we did in the previous week. A few students asking questions about, oh, when do we need to hand this in? And then other students answering those questions. So building that social component and thinking back to the example I used with the 2 groomsmen, that we're making sure that everybody in the class is helping each other out and helping each other succeed. Tweet walls are something we do every once in a while too. So a tweet wall is just a big screen with a Twitter feed flowing through. We use a free website called Twitterfall. What we do this a lot at when we host open mic nights and talent nights in the K building to get students to sort of prop each other up and talk about what's happening there at that night. So once a student tweets something like, oh, this comedian is hilarious, the tweet comes up on the wall immediately in front of them, but it also gets distributed to all of their friends and the people in their social connection. So the audience isn't just the people in the room, but it's the friends of people doing the tweeting, and the content is tweets from the people at the show who are watching the show. The way we measure it is the number of tweets, but also the sentiment of the tweet. So are they saying good things, are they saying bad things, and then it helps us the next time around make a better event because we can see these comments coming from students. This is another real trivial, sort of fun contest that we did. It wasn't even a contest. There were no prizes awarded or anything. We just had a stuffed monkey, or an inflatable monkey for some reason lying around the office. So we went around campus, both North and Lakeshore, took photos of this monkey in different spaces, and then asked students to spot the monkey, identify where on campus this was. So the goal, it was just sort of a time killer, but we also wanted students to be aware of their campus. We made sure to do things like have it at the Career Center or the Health Center, so students could identify that all of these resources on campus are available to me, and it was just fun. Who doesn't love making fun of pictures of an inflatable monkey on campus? The way we measured this was the number of people participating and sort of how quickly they got to the right answer and helped each other get to that right answer. Resources were really nothing more than a camera that we had and the time to make it happen. And we just did this on Facebook. So I'm going to end with probably my favorite social contest that we do. This is from last year. It's a campaign called lighthearted. The idea behind this one is students create a video, a short video, and they have to talk about the HSF services that they use. That's pretty much it. There is a sort of an incentive prize to make it happen, but this is something that students put together. They talk about what they like about HSF or what services they've used. So I will let this one play. That's probably probably my favorite contest that we do. And again, the goal behind that one is just to make sure that students are telling each other about how to be successful on campus, what resources are available, and how to make the most of it. So that's it for me. Like I said, this presentation will be at nickfarnell.ca, and you can either jump into the K building and find me, or catch me at nfarnell@hsfweb.com. So thank you, and I guess we have some time for questions.
Thank you.